the end in sight we desire? Are we desiring the winning of the person or the decimation of the person? We are seeking the winning of the person. Let me give you an example of this. I may have used this at some time. I was speaking at the University of Malaysia, or I think it's called Malaya. It's the oldest Islamic university in Malaysia. And a professor of geology, he's a Christian gentleman, came to me and he told me this story. I wish I could remember his name. It's something like Gentle Lee or something like that. Very fine man. I'm talking several years ago. He took me out for dinner. He said Ahmed Deedat, the Muslim debater who's passed away from Durban, South Africa, who was taking on all comers, he came to speak at that university and he mocked the Christian there. And this gentleman stood up and he said, "Why are you mocking Christianity?" And the man said, "Because it's a farce." He said, "Nobody can live the Sermon on the Mount." So Professor Lee said to him, "Why do you say that?" He said, "Come on up here." So Professor Lee walked up to the front, and the man slapped him across the face. Ahmed Deedat slapped him across the face. He said, "Turn the other cheek now." And Professor Lee told me, he said, "Ravi, my face was ringing with that slap." And I turned the other cheek to him. He said, Deedat didn't know what to do. The audience was packed. He said, "All right, I won't go that route. But the Bible also says if a man asks you for your tunic, give him your cloak also, whatever." He said, "Take your trousers off for me." And Professor Lee told me this himself. He said, "I looked at the audience, many of my students in there. I said, please forgive me for doing this." And he took his trousers off and was standing in front of the audience in his underwear. And Deedat was just mocking and laughing at him. And then he picked up his clothes, walked out of there. He said, "Ravi, my office was lined up with Muslim students the next day, begging for forgiveness for what was done to me."